Good afternoon. That's Marion talking on the air before we get on the air.
I heard the kids back there.
If you're looking for the weekly broadcast of Ask Welfare Rights, you have found us. And we've been away for a little while, but we're back today, the first day after Thanksgiving, for those of you that celebrate that holiday. And this is the weekly broadcast of Ask Welfare Rights, and my name is Maureen Taylor. I work with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, and I'm here with our national chairperson, Marion Kramer, who's going to give you an official welcome. So, Marion, say hello.
And following Maureen on what she just said, yeah, we're both happy to be back here with you tonight, as well as to remind you that when you come to when you call in, please have a pencil and paper with you. And you're going to call in on 868-0342,
Look at the numbers on the TV.
03.
There's only two of them.
There's only two listed on TV. Yeah. Well, let's start with those. 868-4336 and 868-0351.
There you go.
Those of you that are calling outside of our area, remember, you're going to have to add that 313 to either one of these telephone calls. If you're on the website, you will turn to www.tv33 or WHPR.com. And you're listening to TV33 WHPR. We got to get some information from one of these older gents around here, Maureen, and find out what was the actual year that this program started.
The station or our program?
Well, no, not ours. I'm talking about the
station?
station. Yeah, because at one time they used to be connected with Highland Park Community High School, and it is at least have survived for a long period of time, and it's been rough.
That's good.
But we want to congratulate them on that. But again, tune in, call your friend and say, look at WHPR. If you can't see us or what have you, go to your, if you're fortunate enough to have a computer, you can get us on there and tune in.
All right, Marion, conversation you and I had earlier today was about Highland Park, and we're asking Highland Park residents, call somebody else in Highland Park.
Please.
Because we want to make certain that everybody in Highland Park, for sure folks in Detroit, but in particular people in Highland Park need to know that there is a concerted effort now to send out shut-off notices because of backwater bills, and we're going to have to get together and bond together if we're going to delay and or stop and or interrupt this. So, Marion, what you and I were talking about earlier today is that folks in Highland Park have now started to receive notices alerting people of shut-off notices, and wanted to get involved with some of that discussion today, and a little bit more information and discussion about these drainage fees that you all have now been told you're responsible for. So what's the update on shutoffs for Highland Parkers?
Well, in the last couple of weeks, a few people have approached me with the fact that they had received a shutoff notice. And they don't understand why, they have to be paying all this money for this runoff water, Maureen. And it's very confusing to folks as to what this is all about. Here we are, Highland Parkers. We found out last year that the governor, the state of Michigan owes us almost, $40,000 now. I mean, $40 million now.
$40 million.
For runoff water for the Davidson Expressway.
Now stop right there and explain what it is that we're talking about. The state is supposed to be paying Highland Park
You know,
for the
the
use
rain and
of
runoff
the
water.
Davidson Freeway, and under that, so rain and water and snow and all the rest of that,
Uh-huh.
the state was supposed to pay Highland Park for the use of pipes and whatnot under the Davidson Freeway.
And so the question should be raised.
well, wait a minute, what happened?
Uh, I'm about to say that the present mayor had meetings with, Lansing and with the governor around this, and a question was posed as to why they have not taken care of their runoff bill. And the reply was, you didn't bill us.
All right,
I
I
mean-
want you to say that, you know?
You didn't bill us.
So the governor said, or the state said, we never received a bill, so therefore we didn't feel
Come on,
obligated to pay.
Maureen.
So that's what they
that's
said.
that is criminal.
Well,
that is
no.
ironic, because if that, let's reverse this.
Well, that's what you did.
If this should happen to the state would automatically have someone out here trying to collect on their behalf. But they just found out about this under the present city manager, that the state owes Highland Park all this money.
It was
Not
$37
only
million now with
as
the word interest and everything is closer to $40 million. So
more, we don't know. Here also with the county, the same thing.
same arrangement. Okay.
And that is for Woodward Avenue.
All right. So
That the county owes Highland Park all this money. And the question is raised, who's been paying that bill to Detroit? That's been on the back of the people of Highland Park. If this don't make you angry,
No,
what
they're not.
will make you angry?
All right,
Because
so-
you now are paying for runoff water. I received a bill, and it said that in the bill is at home, and it said that I had to pay for runoff water. And now the runoff water is supposed to be for water that have ran off of cement and all that stuff and going into the ground or what have you. But the lot that I own next to my house, Maureen, is nothing but grass and dirt.
yes.
And they say I have to pay for the runoff water. Come on now. That's a lie. My thing is, when they told me that and sent that letter out to me, when I gave them, went up to try to pay my bill, I told them, look, I am not paying for the runoff water that was prior, that you claimed that you had made a mistake and not billed me for, until the state step forth and pay all that money that they owe Highland Parkers for not paying for the runoff water on
Davidson and Woodward.
as well as the county.
And Woodward.
Why should we poor people be forced to take care of this huge bill that rich people have brought about?
Well, now here we go. And I wanted us to be able to bring this conversation to the forefront because drainage fees is what we're talking about
Oh,
here.
yes.
And drainage fees mean that at where your actual house is, and then there's a dirt grass lot next to your house, and then there's another building that's empty on the other side of the lot.
Sound
They're
like my
trying
house.
to charge you for water that ran through the pipes under the grass.
Ground.
Under the ground, under the grass, into that next building that water has been shut off on. And what's going on, same thing we've been fussing about in Detroit.
Detroit.
This is about drainage fees that are connected to lots that people own next to their churches, next to their homes. And the water department in Highland Park has now indicated to you all that you owe back 23 months. And they didn't bill you back 23 months. It looked like the first bill you might have got was 2 or 3 months ago.
We made a mistake and
Yeah.
didn't bill you.
For 23 months.
I mean, these people act like we the village idiots. And if y'all sit back and let this continue, you are the village
They're going to
idiots.
sit back and let this continue. Let me tell you about what my sisters and brothers
I
are
tell
doing
you,
in
it is
Detroit.
criminal how y'all refuse to take a stand.
Well, Jen used to say it all the time. The people haven't been punished enough.
You right.
They can suffer some more. So my cousins in Detroit, there are a lot of people in Detroit that contact the water department and challenge what is this drainage fee stuff. And the answers and whatnot that they get oftentimes don't make any sense. But
None.
people are finally
None.
coming to a realization of what it is that the water department is charging folks. Now we had an explosion when those Baptist pastors
Hey.
went down to Detroit City Council and said, we are not going to be able to pay for this drainage fee stuff under the dirt or under these structures that we built on these lots that you all sold us for $1 or $2 or $3. And now here comes the water bills that should have been charged and or billed 2 or 3 years ago, and people in these churches are being told that they have to pay $700 and $800 a month. And of course, they woke up right quick, but they didn't wake up earlier when people were getting their water shut off. So that's all right. Now that they are woke and the election is over, because the persons who got elected into these recent political activities were the ones that were able to make promises and told that as long as they are in office, they're going to help folks manage those bills. So in Detroit, there are a lot of people that are complaining about these bills. But Marion, I tell you, and I don't know if this information is correct. I heard it once from Maryland and Ted and them, but they tell me that the number of hearings that people are filing down at the Detroit Water and Sewage Department is at an all-time low. So people are upset, they're angry about these bills, but will not go forward and want to do a fight or want to issue a challenge, and will not write a hearing.
And
I'll say that to the folks in Detroit. If you don't like the way your water bill looks, you don't
Flood
like
them
the way
with
you don't-
hearings.
File a hearing, and the
Flood
folks
'em.
in Highland Park. So talk about that, Mary. Where do you
You
go?
know,
File a
you
hearing
know,
in
if you
Highland
want
Park.
to file a hearing in Highland Park, you got to go before that do nothing city council. We need to make them work.
Is there paperwork?
You know, well, you got to file, you know, actual hearing.
Okay, but there is something. You have
There's
to file
file
something in
some
writing.
kind of hearing in writing.
And where do you
and,
take it?
and you know, you take it to the up to City Hall, and I would not trust mailing it. And it should be easy. If you have problems with it, you know, you can call down to Michigan Welfare Rights, and we'll set a time for you to come in, and we can help you to file that hearing.
Okay, but Mary, let's talk about the steps. Let's don't gloss over them. If you want to file a hearing about drainage charges, back bill drainage charges that they
Anything.
say you owe for the last 23 months, then what people should do is put something in writing, take it to your not the mayor's office. What do y'all call that place up there in Woodward?
It's the mayor. It's the mayor's office and the council office.
So you take it to the council office, but you should always get a copy, right? And then they need to stamp something on that hearing form to indicate that something was filed. But I guess there is no official hearing form.
I have never seen
Okay,
one.
so whatever you take, you put it in writing. You take it up there on Woodward Avenue to the council office and ask them to stamp your request, put the office stamp on it, then make a copy so that you will have a copy that says the office stamp on it that you can read, so you'll have some proof that you filed something. And everybody in Highland Park, you all are being told you owe water bills that were not billed to you almost 2 years.
You know-
And you know, if you have an objection to it, and you should go there and you should file that hearing so that some judge can go over month by month what it is that they say you owe. Otherwise, you are,
I
know,
mean, you-
just keep paying through the nose.
I mean, we're just giving them money that they owe. The state owes, the county owes, and we don't know how Detroit is stealing from all of us.
Well,
You know, and why? You know, what are these new people paying, Maureen, down there? They're probably buying
new
those.
people?
When I'm talking about those that are getting these buildings for nothing, Dan Gilbert and all of them, all that stuff. If there's a water attached to some building down there, I bet you they don't have to pay for it or nothing. It's thrown to the wayside.
Well, no, they all have to pay. But here's the difference. if you get into a dispute with the water department, you're threatened with shut off.
Oh, yes.
If they
Not
get
Dan
into a
Gilbert and them.
dispute, I'm saying if they get into a dispute, there's a letter that they get that says, "Now, Dan, why don't you be nice about this? Can't we figure something out?"
If you
and
remember.
they get a chance to have a discussion about whatever their circumstance is, but they don't get threatened. Only you do. I do. We don't get threatened like that, or at least they don't. So
Now, I'm saying when Dan Gilbert and all of them, and I hope somebody that's with the, and you know, you look at them with a crooked eye too, with the press and stuff like that, would look into the possibility, how much do they pay? And are they paying for their water bill? Because when we first started on this water trip,
you know what we saw.
well, we saw big bills for the corporations that were not being paid.
Tiger
but
Stadium
yet,
for America.
you know,
hundred
golf
thousands,
course,
golf courses all over the place.
hospitals, you name it. And but yet and still they didn't go after them, but
They
they
don't
came
threaten them.
after poor people.
They don't threaten them.
They don't
you
threaten
know?
them, and I wonder, you know, and you look at the mayor, he doesn't have to pay nothing. You know, in Detroit, you are paying for
You're
his.
talking about down at the mansion.
That's right.
Well, that's public housing, and he doesn't pay a
He
water
doesn't
bill.
pay nothing.
See, so
So you know, you ought to be angry about this.
I don't think so. Caller, you called us this evening, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You're on the air.
Good
Hello.
evening. How are you doing?
And how are you?
Oh, real good. And welcome you two ladies back. I'm
Thank
not
you.
looking at you on TV. I just took a chance and called it. We miss you when you ain't there. But anyway, I just want to call and say happy holidays to you.
And
Yeah,
thank you,
thank
sir.
you.
And happy holidays to you as well.
Thank you. When I have something to discuss, I'll call back on it.
All right, thank
Okay,
you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you very much. So, Marion, we're back at square one again. Now, as we get into this Highland Park fight, because again, folks in Highland Park, 868-4336, 868-0351. Folks in Highland Park should be paying attention. He hadn't hung up yet. Should be paying attention to water bills that you are starting to get over the last 2 to 3 weeks that have these back bills identified and listed, but they just tell you the total amount that you're being billed back 23 months and forward. So, you know, if you have any questions about that, you should be talking to your neighbors, talking to your block clubs, talking to your city council people. Maybe your council members need to have some kind of a special meeting, Marion.
Yeah, I think we
You
are,
know?
Maureen, because I was talking to a young lady the other day. This was the day before Thanksgiving, and she stopped me in the store and told me that her water, she went home and her water was turned off. Another young lady over here, she was at home and the water was shut off, and her husband had just paid the bill 2 days prior. You know, and it's criminal how they're able to utilize this water to try to kick us in the back in order for them to make continue to have a budget based on our poor backs. You know, we didn't
don't know.
create this.
But you paying for it.
But we're paying for it, and as long as you don't take a stand and demand something,
Not
we're
gonna do
going we're gonna always be paying for it. Some of y'all, you're some gutless people. Stand up at least for the future of your children, if nothing else.
Well, you know, we talked earlier today, and we really want to urge folks in Highland Park to get prepared to go to your council. Get prepared to go to your mayor.
Don't let 'em get away
and
with
talk
it.
to them about establishing a water affordability plan in Highland Park. Now, Marion, we have some other news that we're going to weave into this about something that happened in Chicago just the other day.
Yeah, but on this
So-
water affordability plan,
Yes.
Highland Park and Detroit had the opportunity to implement this way before anybody else, because the first two cities that we introduced this to in the year of 2005 was Highland Park and Detroit.
First two.
The very first two. And, you know, city council, some of the people sitting on city council now was on city council then. They could have been heroes of people, not only in Highland Park and Detroit, but throughout the world. So, it's shameful, just outright shameful.
Now, what has happened is the document that Marion is talking about, this concept of a water portability plan, we had it up and ready to go in '05. It needed to be tweaked according to the city council in Detroit in '06, and we got it tweaked, and then in '07 the city council in Detroit approved it, passed it, and accepted it, ready for implementation. Then we got caught up with Victor McCardle and things went the other way. But now what we've learned, Marion, is that in Baltimore, somebody there took a copy of the water portability plan.
One of the people that came here.
One of the folks that came here and took a copy of our document and has gotten it implemented and discussed first, researched and implemented in Baltimore. Barrister, Robert Barrister, Bannister.
What is
Bannister,
it?
B-A-N, Bannister, whatever. He
Nice
went
young
and
man.
took it to Philadelphia, the copy we sent him, and tweaked it to make it fit the folks in Philadelphia and got it passed. That was a victory, but the newest victory just happened the other day. An alderman in Chicago took the water affordability plan to the city council in the great big city of Chicago and discussed it, and they're now looking for ways to get it implemented in Chicago. So, at the last gathering we had, at the event where Liz Theo Harris and Reverend Barbara came about the launching of the Poor People's Campaign in Detroit, and we asked people at the water gathering and at this Poor People's Campaign events that we had over 2.5 days to please take copies of that document to wherever they live. And I think the last time we talked to Michelle and Rick, they were taking it to their D.C. council members. And so we want people to know this document gets rid of a notion of having to have water shutoffs, cutting people's water off because they can't pay. And this is the first step that we want to take toward that. And folks in Highland Park ought to be demanding your council members and your mayor get this water affordability plan, get the discussion going, get it implemented and whatnot in the city of Highland Park. If you wait, the beast is knocking at the door now, and something's about to happen. Go ahead, Marion.
I had talked this past Monday with the city council president. We were waiting for the council meeting to begin, and he was getting ready. And I said, you need to look at the water affordability plan and go on and get that implemented. Because it's not only going to save the person, they give the person that has a water bill the ability to be able to pay their water bill.
Based on their income.
Yeah, all based on their income, but Highland Park will really benefit from that.
Yes.
You will end up with a capital overlay that you didn't have before. You would end up with enough money to be able to upkeep the water department. And he said, well, where can I get that? I said, well, I'm going to give you this real simple narrative, the abbreviated one, but you can go on the Michigan Welfare Rights website and download it. Because see, for one thing, we fought to get this thing written, and we fought in Detroit and Highland Park for this, but we were not trying to make no money off of this. We felt that this should be a public thing,
that's right,
not a private thing. So, if you want to see the copies of it, it's very simple and brief and to the point, and we advise you to read it. Because if you have lower income, your bill might be $16 a month. Given your income, it might be $40 a month, something that you can consistently pay. And those of you that can't pay, we have the ability to set up something to be able for those folks to be taken care of.
So folks really should, Highland Parkers, saying it to you again, get to your council members, get to your council meeting, get to your mayor, get to your mayoral meetings, and start talking about implementing the water affordability plan. It is being implemented in other cities across the nation. Chile took the copy to Durango, Colorado, and introduced it that following week after the gathering. They're now finishing up the final details. The next big city to go, not big city, but Durango going to be the next city to implement the water affordability plan.
See, they come up with nonsense here in Michigan because of the Headley Act that was passed back in the
70s.
Yeah, about in the 70s, that they cannot implement. They can implement anything they want to, if it was something putting money in their pockets.
Well, what they say is the Headley Amendment suggests that you cannot charge two different rates. Okay, and we never said nothing about that. We didn't talk about no different rates. Everybody get charged the same. All right, and we just want people to be able to pay the water bill based on their income.
Yes.
Okay, and they keep coming up with this, but that's the next thing, Mary.
That's the crooked mouth of the people that's running this government.
Don't want a water affordability program locally. But okay, Marion, now that's the other issue. As we struggle with people in Highland Park and Hamtramck and Detroit and all these other places to get in front of their councils and let's get these water affordability plans implemented in their areas, what's the real answer to this water stuff? And I maintain that what we want to talk about, and we're going to have to write some specifications for that, like Ruth said, we have to do across the country infrastructure repair.
That's right.
That's what has to happen.
That is so. If you look, here in this state, every month there's a problem with the infrastructure.
Something falling.
And they're not using materials that they use in downtown Detroit. Look at the cement down there compared to the cement in our community.
I don't know. They had a pothole downtown Detroit in front of the city county building that lasted for about 9 months.
Yeah, but they fixed it. That's the type of stuff they put down there. It's not what they put in our community. Caller, you on the line. Thank you for calling Michigan Welfare Rights.
How are you ladies doing today?
Fine, sir.
Good. I've listened to y'all ladies' program and talking about the water department and sewage department of Detroit and Highland Park.
Yes.
And I want to get with you ladies, so we can organize some kind of group. And because a lot of the citizens in Detroit really ain't gonna do nothing about it, But we have to be
proactive.
We have to be
proactive. Yeah.
Proactive. Right. We have to help the ones that don't want to help themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, do you live in either one of those cities?
I live in Detroit.
Okay, and are you responsible for a water bill where you live?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
and have you been paying attention to this drainage fee?
Yes. I was complaining about it last year.
Yeah.
I
And
was
what
down to the water department and complaining about that because I'm already paying a sewage fee. Why do I have to pay another sewage fee?
And what was the if you remember, what was the
reason?
The reason? What was the definition you got for a drainage fee?
They told me that I wasn't paying nothing but for one drainage fee.
Oh my God!
See, well,
it's crazy.
Right now, water bills in Detroit are running around $100, $110, $115 a month, and that includes. That's just for 1 month, and that includes your water bill, the actual water you use, the sewage bill, whatever they had to clean, the drainage fees, whatever that is, and now they have what's that new phrase?
You have to pay for the billing.
Yeah, they don't call it billing. What do they call it?
Here, I'll look
it's a service fee. It's a service fee.
Oh yeah, that's it. The service fee.
Yeah,
that was new. That was new. It's a service fee.
Sent out to you.
So you have to pay for that. And it's 2 or 3 other new categories. And, when Marion and I travel and go to the other parts of the country and whatnot,
they look at us like we crazy.
How can you all afford $100, $115 a month? And some of the folks that we know, in major areas, They're paying $250, $275 for the year.
Yes.
For
If
the
you remember,
year.
at one time we used to get our bills every 3 months, and maybe it might be close to 100, but not
3 months.
for 3 months. And you notice every year they sneaking in more and
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah.
We
Well,
have
man.
to put a stop to this. We have to
Yes,
get
we
rid of
do.
the Great Lakes water authorities. We're gonna have to do some campaigns and letting people know who they really represent, and they are not representing
We
us.
don't have no control no more of the water.
No.
Yep. Well, young man,
We don't have control of the. That was a whole issue about them getting the water.
that was it. That was
Yeah,
the whole
we don't-
issue.
We don't have control of the water no more.
And you know, people
We
always
might
pulling
be-
Maureen.
Well, they got more control than we do.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes. And
But
we're
we can
losing.
take it back. We can
Yeah.
get it.
But what
If
is-
people
what is our
begin to
leaders
stand
doing? What is
up.
our city leaders doing? Like our mayor, our city council, they know this. They know
Oh,
this.
they don't pay the water bill you and I pay.
They don't even live in the city
Well,
of
they
Detroit.
do pay the same water bill. They got 3 and 4 times as much resources. They got money to pay stuff.
But Maureen, the mayor
Yeah.
does not pay for his water bill.
I ain't talking about
That's
the
what he
mayor.
said.
The council people have to pay for their own water bills, but they make significant
They make
salaries.
almost over $100,000.
No.
They went down.
It went down. It went down.
But it's way more
You
than
know,
what we
it's
make.
way more than what the average worker makes. There's no question about it. Now, caller, stay tuned and
Yes, ma'am.
stay on the communication highway line, and maybe you
ma'am.
can let some other folks know about. We don't have to take this. We don't have to take this, and it's going to be difficult. We got
We're
about
coming
2
out with some plans, and
Yeah.
within the week. Within the week.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, and thank you, sir, from God, from your lips to God's ears. Thank you so much.
And thank you, ladies. Y'all,
Thank you.
Y'all some crusaders and some pioneers. I watch you, listen to you every night.
And appreciate you.
Thank you.
All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
thank you so much.
Bye bye.
All right. So now I'll talk with Fred, and who else is on that committee? Somebody else the other day, and where we gonna have to, when we have our retreat in January, we want to learn about CCC camps. We want to learn about the WPA camps.
Yeah, 'cause they got 'em.
And those camps that Roosevelt and them had to pull together and pay people to build roads, to build
Oh, you
pipes.
talking about those,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
talking about the old CCC camps and whatnot. And come forward with some plans, because it looks like in 2018, 2019, unless the grassroots come forward with some plans on what is it we're going to do around these water affordability issues, around these water infrastructures. Marion, the Keystone Pipeline is already leaking. I couldn't believe that
wait a
when
minute,
I heard
Maureen.
that the
Wait a
other day.
minute.
I thought, oh my God, this
That's
is the
right.
one from Canada down through the middle of the United States, right along the Mississippi River. And it, I just saw it about, 2, 3, 4 days ago. It's leaking 200,000 barrels of water a day. And it just started leaking about 3 or 4 or 5 days ago.
Jeez.
And you know, I mean, you just wonder, why would we not think that was going to happen? And it's already
It's
burst
gone.
and it's already leaking. Caller, you on the air. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Hi, ladies. Linda Wheeler here from Highland
Welcome.
Park. Hey, Maureen and Marianne Kramer.
All right. We informed. All right. Well, inform us some more, Highland Parker.
Well, right now, waiting on word from the governor. You know, I'm secretary of the charter. Our charter was completed. The deadline was November the 4th, but yet we still have not got if he's approved it or not. So that's still to be in the. I'll give you further information on that. And if it is approved, we'll put it on the ballot for April.
Hey, Linda,
Yes.
we can't hardly hear you. Just
Mr. Engineer, we might need a little help. Linda, give the last part of that report one more time and say it a little bit more slowly, because your voice seems to be going in and out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
That's your phone.
The people at the station say, stop buying them cheap phones here. All right, so say it again. Okay, now say it again.
Maybe now is it better?
Yes, that's better. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, what I was saying is that we will have the ballot for the voters in April of next year, 2018. But still haven't gotten any word from the governor whether it's approved or not. But it seems very hopeful, though.
Okay, now do you get these water bills and shut-off notices? Anybody say anything to you about these issues in the last 2-3 weeks?
Yes. In fact, Eben has mentioned that he's gotten a shut-off notice. I think it was less than a week ago.
Yes. Mm-hmm. When you get off the phone, call him. He was supposed to be calling in. You know, he's getting older than what he claimed he is. And he had a lot of other information, too, concerning this that he's been researching. But, you know, until we began to understand that this water is a public entity,
yes,
and that it is not supposed to be at the expense of the public, you know, then people don't realize that they got a job to do for the next generation. We got to fight for this water. And every year they come in with with why they have to tax us more for the water. Pretty soon we're not going to be, all of our water is going to be off. What are we going to do then?
Well, that's where we going. So now, Miss Linda, we're going to also need you to stand by over the next 2 or 3 weeks because we want to say something about these taxes. And Wayne County taxes not being paid by folks in Highland Park. We already, we used to get the list of houses that were being reviewed for foreclosure in Wayne County, but I don't know that we can get that information anymore.
Because they sit nose up for the folks that can buy them in bulks and everything like that.
Well, yeah, they have been buying them in bulk from the land bank.
And
Michigan Land Bank.
There is something called the right of first refusal. I was talking with Marion about that earlier today, where under certain economic turndowns and other circumstances, the treasurer can say for seniors in Highland Park, 65 years of age and older, you're going to be exempt from paying 2017 or 2018 taxes. And that can come forward. So we want to research all that. We're going to get with our lawyers and some of these other folks, so we're going to have some study groups so that we can figure out some of this stuff. So need you to stay fresh and stay alert and tell mom and dad. Not only did we say hello, but they going back to school too. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Before I say goodnight to you, ladies, can I give you a little Black history?
Yes, please.
I'm going to talk about Madam Stephanie St. Clair. Her nickname was Queenie, and she lived in Harlem. She came from Guadalupe in the Caribbean, and she spoke French and English, and she was a policymaker. Now, policy banking was illegal and mixed with a lot of investments, gambling, and playing the lottery, known as the numbers. She started out with $10,000 investment in 1920, and she brought it into over $1 million in just a few short years and became the talk of the town. Of course, with that type of savvy, she had a lot of enemies, and as she did not become friends with the white mobsters, the mobsters, and they were terrified of her, and they tried to stop her. She received countless death threats and pleas to leave the city, but she never backed down. 50 of her racketeer-related murders in Harlem were all pointing to the mobsters, but she still never backed down. She burned down storefronts, and her bodyguards kidnapped several of the mobsters and tipped off the police on their operations. She also, in the purchased newspaper ads detailing her rival's harassment and clearing the air of any attacks on her character. Eventually, she grew tired of the mob life and fueled her money and efforts into political reform and community projects. She cared deeply about the black community and employed
Okay.
dozens of people. She also paid for several newspaper ads aimed at educating black people about voting and detesting New York's police brutality. In her later years, she was well respected throughout Harlem black community as a local advocate for economic rights and even lived in the same neighborhood as Thurgood Marshall and W.E. Du Bois.
Stephanie
That
St. Clair.
Yes,
And thank you very much.
you're quite welcome.
Thank
All right,
you.
dear. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies.
All right.
night.
Good night now. Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Good evening, ladies.
And good evening.
How you doing, Maureen?
Oh, fine.
You were talking about water, so I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gary Brown I've seen him on I've heard him on radio shows, I've seen him on TV, and he says that if you disconnect your downspouts from your roof, that you can get a special rate on your water bill. My question is, who do you go to see about that?
I've not heard that, but
Mm-hmm.
the phone number to the water department, what is it, 267-8000? 267-8000, I think that's right. My memory may not be correct on that one. But I would call, and they're open on Saturdays from 9 to 12. If you can't get them, it's really hard to get them on Saturdays because the phone lines stay jammed. And at 12 o'clock, they go right to the recording.
What time they open?
9 to 12.
I've never been able to get them on the telephone, ever, any day of the week. I even know the song by heart, I've never been able to get them on the phone.
I know what you're talking about. The only thing I can tell you is that I've never heard that before, but the only people that would have that information would be at the water department, or you could call 224. What's the mayor's number? 224-4500. 224-4500, and ask at the mayor's office on Monday through Friday after 8 o'clock. What is this news about disconnecting your downspout, and you get a different rate? Now, I've not heard that. I can't understand the reason for that. That would make no sense to me, because if you take the downspout away, that means that water from your roof is just falling onto your porch or onto your grass, but it's still going down. But I would check into that, and I don't know. I haven't heard that before.
I haven't either. One thing, again, if you cannot get them, call our office on Mondays after 12 o'clock and tell them that.
9640618.
Yes.
Yes, and ask them for a direct number to his office.
You don't
Gary's
know who
office.
you're talking to, do you?
I do.
Okay. Oh, here's another thing. That
Oh,
little history lesson, the young
Lord.
lady.
I know who it is.
You know that little history lesson the young lady just gave you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, well they've got a movie about her. It's called Hoodlum, starring Lawrence Fishburne.
And
I know that.
Cecily Tyson.
Uh-huh.
That is correct.
Yes, I know it well.
Now with the Keystone Pipeline, yes, it's 260,000 barrels being leaked every day.
Every day.
Doing what?
And here's the thing that they don't really explain
Yeah.
to us.
Okay.
Oil.
Canada has
It's crazy.
Canada has the right to any land that they have to cross in order to build that pipeline, because they were supposed to vote on the other pipeline this week, and we haven't heard a word about it.
Well,
See, that pipeline that busted this week is the one that went through South Dakota. That was the Dakota Access Pipeline.
yes.
Yeah.
But see, they still want to build the Keystone Pipeline that's going to run almost side by side.
Side by side, all the way from Canada, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And
they have
if it's
exclusive rights
fractured,
how does another foreign country get exclusive rights to the land in our own country?
because they have a checkbook that's bigger than yours.
And they've been stealing land, too. That's some of the problem in upper Michigan.
See, so
between these corporations.
all they have to do is to open up that checkbook. They get 2 or 3 engineers to swear, and there won't be a problem. You know, and if it broke or if it fractured in one place and 260,000 gallons are being leaked every day, how many more fractures is it going to have all the way from Montana all the way to the Gulf of Mexico? You know, and what's the cleanup process? This is a mess.
What's going to be the next crisis in the world?
You're probably right. You know, and
It's
it's a
food and
nightmare.
water.
It's growing
Yeah.
continuously.
All right.
Food and water. The next wars are going to be fought over food and water. If
We
you
have
can
been
destroy the
saying
land,
that
there won't
for
be any food.
years.
You are absolutely
We have
correct,
been
sir.
trying to tell people that for years. And whoever owned the water owned the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've been trying to
You got that
privatize this water all over this country, throughout the world. We got to stop that.
It's a mess. All right, young man, I'll be rolling in your direction sometime Sunday afternoon, but I'll call you all first, okay?
I got something for you.
And thank you so very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye now. Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights quickly.
Hello?
So is it,
Yes, you're on
so
the
is it
air.
fair to say
What do you say?
that we're being charged every time God bless us with rain? We got to pay the out for that. And do you know for yourself
You're telling
if it's
God.
against the law? I heard it was against the law to have rain barrels in your back at your house. Is that true or not?
Let me tell you how that story went.
Oh, my God.
We got involved with the Sierra Club and 2 or 3 other environmentalist clubs about 8, 9, 10 years ago, and the issue was about conservation.
Yes.
And you know, we're trying to learn and trying to do better, be better stewards of the earth and all this kind of stuff. And so we were told, you know, we just waste so much water. And an example of the wasted water is when you flush your toilet, all that water goes down and then it has to build up. So it was the Sierra Club and them that told us, put a brick in the back of your toilet. Now, young man, you know what I'm talking about, right? In the back of the toilet, put a brick in there, and that will displace some of the water so it doesn't have to fill up so much. You follow me? So we had the we put together 6 months. Get a brick. Get a brick campaign. And man, we advertised it. That's when we still had the Michigan Citizen. We talked about it. Put that brick in the back of your toilet and it will let your water bill go down significantly. More and more people started to do it, and after about a year, it was an article in the newspaper that said Detroiters have learned how to conserve water. And they've done such a good job. But what we'll have to do, because they're conserving so well, is we'll have to charge them more money because they're not spending like they should be spending. And, oh, by the way, them barrels you got, those barrels are illegal because you all are out here saving water without authorization.
And that's a lie.
I did what?
That's
I did
a
what?
lie.
I'm sorry, you said I did what?
We are saving, conserving water without authorization.
And you know what? We need to challenge
What?
that, because we found out about saving water when we were at Stanford University, who was helping people in Africa to be able to save the water and set up avenues for to be able to transfer the water. Now, I don't believe them. You know, we need to challenge them out.
challenge it.
And there
Well,
were some communities that they said that we couldn't have that use those barrels to catch the rainwater and to
Right.
be able to water their lawns and all that type of stuff.
Said we were stealing
can
from
wash
the
your
water
clothes.
department.
You can filter it enough to wash your clothes at home, and also what was the other thing? Oh, for your toilet.
Right.
You can
Yes.
filter that water from that rain barrel just
That's right.
enough
Yes.
to wash clothes or flush your toilet. You know how often we use the toilet.
Yes.
Can you imagine how much money we save? So you're not really conserving the water or setting the water up. You're using that water every day for your toilet or either for washing your clothes.
Well, what
That's
happens
basically
is
my
that
thought.
you don't use as much water in the back of the toilet if you put that brick back there.
Brick there, and it
But
could
the
be a
other
half a
part
brick.
about the barrels is that they were saying, city was saying, by using these barrels and using it to water your grass, like Marion said, your plants, and take some of it
Right.
and use it to put in the back of your toilet.
Mop
that
your
some-
floor.
Mop your floors, that we were shortchanged in the water department.
Right.
And they weren't able to charge us money because we weren't using as much water coming into our homes.
That sounds so. That just sounds so unrighteous. Thanks
Oh,
for taking my
Yes.
All right, very good, sir. Thank you for
Stay
that call.
tuned for our next programs next week and the week after. We will have some suggestions to you and for you to get involved.
Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. Quickly.
Yeah, I just wanted to shut off. And
You said what now?
shut off.
Caller, your voice is going in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bad connection in Highland Park. Everything in Highland Park broke.
Okay, you're in Highland Park?
Yeah.
Okay, did you get a water bill yet that says you're responsible for drainage fees for the last year and a half?
Yeah, I also got a shut off notice.
Oh, okay. If you
Come
need
call
any
our
help with that notice, all right, because we're trying to call folks and say, let's get together and figure out what we can do. You call us Monday after 12 o'clock at the Welfare Rights Office, 964-0618, so we can get you some help with that shut-off notice, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You are on the air.
Good evening, young lady.
And good evening.
I'm calling to ask you, have you heard about the government store?
The
Are you
governor,
familiar with the government store?
I can't hear what she's
All
saying.
right, the governor what?
The government store.
Okay, can't hear the word that you're saying after government.
The store.
The government
Where you can
store,
get all
ST.
kind of information.
Are you saying
Okay,
store?
engineer man, this is important. Please fix this sound, please.
What?
Ma'am,
This is
we're
important.
struggling here because your voice is going in and out.
Well,
Okay.
I'm on my phone. My TV's turned down.
Okay,
So the engineer needs to fix that sound.
okay. And you said
Okay, this government store. As soon as I moved here, I got one chance to visit there, and a few months later they closed it.
Store.
You can. All you have to do is go down to the city hall building and pick up the application for tax exempt.
Okay, I was talking to Marion today about tax exempt forms.
And
Now,
that's all you have to do. is
yeah,
go
now
down
wait
there
a
on the
minute
8th
now.
floor.
wait, hold on. Say a little about that because I haven't seen him in a while. So say a little about that.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to let y'all hear this. You go down, you pick up the application, and you file for this, all right? You got to be 62 or 65. I have gotten it, and every year you file for it. I have tried to tell people about it, but it seems like people are scared to do things.
Well, we're not scared.
we're not scared.
We're
People
not
didn't know.
scared. Now, what's the criteria? Is it only for low-income seniors?
Low income seniors.
Okay, so
I don't know what they mean by low. How much you have to make?
Okay, so there's something on the form, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
Now what I'm doing is you live in a 2-flat, you can still get it, but you'll only get half of the tax. What I did,
Yeah.
I'm making my 2-flat a single home so that I can pay no tax.
Taxes.
okay. Okay.
So I'm coming. You tell me what day I can come down. I'll show you this and.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be wonderful
Yes.
if you had a chance to come down to Welfare Rights anytime after 12 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
I might be there on Monday.
And bring a copy of it if you have it. Otherwise, we're going to send somebody down to the tax department. And because I remember I was telling Marion
we
about
used
this
to have
today.
it, and then it sounded like it had gone. I don't know. We used to be able to use that, but I don't. I'm glad
Don't hear about it
no
anymore.
more.
But I'm so glad you raised that.
I bring you the book also that shows you every state that have this. But I don't understand why they closed the government store here.
Now you're saying a government store, S-T-O-R-E.
Right.
Right, I hear you
That
now.
was
Now
in
where?
the federal building at one time.
Yes.
Okay, that I think that
Maryville.
still exists.
She says closed.
It's closed.
It's closed. It closed
Oh,
in
my
95 or 96.
Okay, and what was the purpose of a government store? What did they do in
Go
there?
there and get all kind
Type
of
of
information
information.
that can help you.
Okay,
But they closed that store,
yeah.
and now you can't get it. I don't know where you have to go to
Probably
get it.
on the
But
internet.
I'll show you this book I have had for years.
That would be so helpful, and we'll make sure we'll give you a cup of coffee with a clean cup. Please come and share whatever that information is. It sounds like it's so valuable,
I
okay?
will.
And thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.
All right.
All right,
Go
now,
ahead.
thank you. Well, Marion,
We're
it's
at the
time
end
to
of
end
our-
this program.
Yeah.
But isn't that funny? You and I were talking about that today. And I didn't know. Nobody said anything to me about the retiree senior tax exempt
You
program.
know what? The
You know?
students that we are getting would love to probably work on that.
Well, we need to get some research on that. Marion, you have 30 seconds to say goodbye.
Again, we're so happy to be back with you, but we're going to have to we got a lot of work that will be coming up, not only at the end of the month, but for the next year. We have to dig deep, Maureen.
All right, and I talked to Miss Eastside. I called her.
Did you get her today?
I have her number, and I talked to her. I said I was going to call on Thanksgiving Day, and I called her the day before. I've got her number.
I got a number.
You know, well, I told her she needs to answer the phone and stop
let the
letting that
phone
phone
be
going straight
busy.
to busy or go straight to voice message. But want to say that on December the 9th, that's on a Saturday, those of you that still wanted to say something to Ed Rose's wife, Miss Nida, a donor who just passed away suddenly just a couple of weeks ago, at 11 o'clock on that Saturday, December the 9th, we'll talk about it again. We're going to have a special celebration of Miss Nida's life. We're going to start at 11 o'clock down at where the Welfare Rights Office is at Central United Methodist Church. And if you can, make yourself available. We would love it to have you join us. God willing, the creek don't rise. We will be back here next Friday to bring more information. Until then, Highland Park, Detroit, do something about this water situation. And goodbye.
Bye.